Next boar here is Ultimatum. Ultimatum would have been introduced last summer by us as kind of one of our main headliner boars, and we still continue to consider him headliner status here. He is a next intention pony up that came from Keplinger Farms. Could not be more pleased with the purchase of him and his brother next up, who will be next in the tour here. Ultimatum is proven to be one of the more versatile boars in terms of just where he fits across the board for just making good hogs in terms of sellability and hogs that look like they're going to feed into good big ones. We're just now kind of getting to see several of those hogs start to surface at the summer shows. Not a lot of those hogs have been jackpotted, but I know there's been a couple of them start winning here just recently. And I know that there's several of the better ones that are going to get shown later this summer at state fairs are going to be, at least out of our program and Seth's both, are going to be ones that are sired by Ultimatum. He sired a class winner there at the expo that we had raised. Keplinger has one that's done some winning at some summer jackpots. We're getting more videos kind of on a weekly basis of some of these that are surfacing that'll get shown at counties and state fairs later this summer that we do feel very, very confident in what to expect out of this boar. This boar will add some density, yet keep them exotic and still keep them practical enough in their makeup to where those hogs will feed. These hogs don't have a lot of quit in them. They are hogs that will continue and stay stout as they get bigger. These days, so many of the hogs that we see are stout-boned as babies and grow out of their bone. These are staying stout-boned and maybe getting stouter-boned. Some of the greener ones are actually becoming stouter, bigger ones. Some of the stouter babies are maturing into good big ones there. So it does look like versatility and where this hog can work is going to be excellent. I would tell you he has worked at our place best on those sows that are just kind of just good ones, middle of the road. Good middle of the road, correct ones that have got good muscle, and let him just kind of spice them up a little bit. He will make those hogs very, very high end looking. And it does look like those hogs are going to feed for people. So very curious to kind of see where we're sitting long term with some of the females we get out of them. But we did, to tell you how much faith we had in him, I had a lot of litters out of him this spring. I went and reused him to have repeat matings and actually more litters out of him for a summer crop than I did this past winter. So the bulk of our litters that are born this summer are going to be sired by Ultimatum. Very, very high on this one. And think his value as a sire is very strong and will continue to stay so.
Well, it's awesome to now see Ultimatum and Next Up as we see them a year later from their introductory date, and that was a pair of boars that for us just honestly revitalized and kind of was a kickstart for the crossbred program, just to put an ultimate stamp on the industry, and we think that this one somewhat led the charge, I would say, in terms of just use, and there's going to be probably a few more of these Ultimatums compared to Next Up, but one that those little ones were awesome sellable baby pigs, and as Mike alluded to, kind of just covered the gambit in terms of the type of sows that he worked on. The most unique thing for me as I've been around and fed on a few of these, it's not often that you can find little pigs that are stout and dense and continue to be that way, but then just do all the little things themselves. We're feeding some Ultimatums that we haven't had to feed muscle to. We haven't had to make them more attractive. We haven't had to slow them down because of feet and legs or pasterns. We haven't had to do any of those things. And to be able to say that about a crossbred boar that is as unique and far-reaching as this one, I think that kind of tells you maybe how we feel about him and maybe the ultimate quality that he has. I alluded to when we talked about in Tarantino that we will continue to use Tarantino. Well, this is the boar for us that these daughters that we keep back out of him and his brother Next Up, that will be the kind that we take Tarantino right back to continue to build to build both of the legacy of these type of boars that we felt that we needed to put in. A boar that looks even better today than the day that we videoed him the first time. I think that this summer is going to be riddled with Ultimatum champions. Like Mike said, just a few that have shown already. They've won on the highest level, and they're ones that still have gas to go to the end of the summer and compete at these state fairs. So we're very excited and still very very honored, from the Keplinger crew to be able to own these two, because that sow is just lights out. She's one of a kind. There's not many of them out there, and we're lucky to have Ultimatum to continue that legacy.